Team Junkyard Dog here today, and what I have for you is this right here. This is the Repeat Drive Magnum gearbox for 12 and 30-pound robots. Now, to give you a little quick backstory, I helped out the Maker Effects Foundation by building a 30-pound sportsman bot for Maker Faire in Florida this year in Orlando, and it gave me the bug for a bigger bot. So we're going to keep our 30-pound robot Sweet Tooth, the hammer bot, going. You know, I had to give back all the equipment that I borrowed from Maker Effects, which were gearboxes and speed controls and things like that. And so I've decided to go ahead and try out these Repeat gearboxes. And we're going to go with the brushless drive for next year. And yes, even though the event isn't even a full month past, I'm already building the bot, getting it ready. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a closer look at this. We're going to split the case open, and then we're going to connect it to this brushless motor. That way, if you get one and you want to know how to install it, you can see how easy and simple it is. So let's get into it. Alright, so here's a much closer look of this gearbox. Yes, it is all metal. It does have a 1/2-inch hex shaft. As you can see, it is threaded in the end. It does come ready to go. It is pre-greased in there, and it is quite a generous amount of grease. Now, it does say in the description that if you're going to be using this for a higher speed application, to eliminate the thicker grease and go with a slightly thinner grease to reduce drag on the drivetrain and the motor. It's designed to mate with 35mm outrunners and 36mm inrunners, and I went with the 36mm inrunner. Now, some more quick specs. It is a 19:1 ratio. It has a billet final carrier and output shaft made from hardened 4140 steel. It's an M6 end tap on the shaft for retaining. It has dual 6902 15mm ID bearings, a 5mm bore pinion, and it weighs about 250 grams. Now, like it said, when you buy this, you do get the pinion with it as well, and it is a 5mm pinion, and that's the center hole, of course, for a 5mm shaft on your motor. Here's one that I've already made up and tested, so I was kind of prepared for this video, and it does work quite nicely. It is a pretty easy install, but let's go ahead. We're going to open this up. I'm going to give you a quick look on the inside and show you a couple things real fast. And on the end here, you can see where the shaft slides through, and there is a snap ring right here holding the shaft in place with the bearing right there. I'm not pulling all this out because I think you kind of get the idea of what you're getting here without me going through all that. And yes, I did buy this gearbox with my own funds. This is not sponsored by Repeat or Peter. Alright, so you can see you just pull out these 4 screws to disassemble it, and then you can pop off the back plate right here. And you can see it's got a little washer here, and this is actually your mounting plate that you're going to mount to your motor. So we'll just set that right there for a moment. And then you can see your planetaries on the inside. And we're going to go ahead and separate this. Oops, we'll just pop all this out. Now you can see that this is very nicely machined. It's a very clean piece. And I will say this, with the other one, I was having a hard time getting the back off of the can because it is indexed. It only goes on one way. As you can see, I had it backwards. You can see you got these little indents. So this is the side, or the motor side, and it goes on just like that. And on the other one, it was a little bit tighter fit, and I was having a hard time separating it. But I did find out that he has these tabs here for a reason, not only for indexing, but you can just stick a small screwdriver in there and just pop it up, and it'll actually release this and pop it off. So very cool. Now you can see this is the shaft where your first set of planetaries would go, and these would just assemble just like this. And you can see that it is well greased. It looks like some type of lithium grease. I don't know for sure what it is. That's your first set of gears. Then here's your second set, and this will just go in like this. And then you just slide your can. I call it a can. And just kind of work it back and forth till you can get it to work in there. Gotta get all these gears lined up. Just like that. Not too difficult. Then you're ready to add your motor, and that's what we're going to do next. Alright, so here's the motor I'm going to be using. This is and I have a feeling that this isn't the greatest motor for this application, but it's a Surpass Hobby from Amazon. It's a 3660 and it's a 2600 kV motor. Now what I did notice when I was test running the other one, I ran it for 3 minutes with no load on it whatsoever, and the can was getting up to 150 degrees. And that's probably due to the fact that this is a 2600 kV motor. And by the time you go through this gearbox and you're driving a back wheel and a front wheel, because my robot will be four-wheel drive, this motor is going to get really hot and not really last. So you may want to look at a lower kV, somewhere around 1000 kV, 800 kV motor, something like that. But that's just my initial thoughts. There is no fact behind that whatsoever. Okay, so as far as mounting this to the motor plate, it's pretty straightforward. I'm pretty sure these are little 3mm screws. You are going to have your own motor mount screws. They don't come with the gearbox. But before you actually mount this on, I like to press the gear on. And what I do is, installing this pinion, hold on, let me reposition the camera. It works out with this particular motor that if I put the pinion on flush with the top of the shaft, it's the right height. Now this may vary with your motor depending on the length of your shaft. And the way that I do it is, of course, I'm using this arbor press. And what I did was, because this shaft kind of sits inside the can a little bit, and I don't like just pushing on this shaft without supporting the back of the shaft, I just flipped my arbor press base upside down to where the little cotter pin is sticking up instead of down. And I actually rest the shaft on that pin. So that's what we're going to do this time too. That's what I did with the other one. That's what I'm doing with this one. And we will just set that there. Put our little gear on top. And now we press. And there we go. We now have a gear installed. Okay, so we're now going to go ahead and mount the base onto the motor, and you can see you have 2 slots and 2 holes. I don't need the slots for this motor because they do perfectly line up with these holes, so that's the route I'm going to go. And if you're smart, I'm going to do this, I'm just prototyping right now, is you do want to use a blue Loctite on these because they could back out in battle. Just like that. We now have our plate mounted. Then all we need to do is we're going to reinsert our washer inside. We're going to click it all together just like so. And then you want to make sure, because this does have mounting holes in the bottom, you want to make sure that you have mounting holes on both sides facing each other. You don't want to have a smooth side with the mounting holes like this, because then you're going to have to take it apart and fix it. So make sure those are lined up. Then you just slide your main screws through. And if I were you, I would Loctite these in as well. But I have a feeling that these motors aren't going to work out for me, so I'm not blue Loctiting anything until I do more testing. And just like that, you can see that it is now fully assembled and ready for battle. That took no time at all, as you can tell. Now, you may be wondering, I'm going to give you some quick measurements. This is going to be the actual shaft length, and these aren't dead on accurate. Well, that's in inches. Let's go to millimeters. So basically, you're at 41.7 millimeter length on the shaft. The actual can itself, you're looking at 47 millimeters, or 47.24 if you want to be precise. If you want to know how wide it is, it's 38 millimeters, and it is perfectly squared all around. Very, very compact. It is small enough that you can use it for a 12-pound, but it's going to be durable enough and strong enough to use for a 30-pound. And I'm really looking forward to using this repeat gearbox. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer them. And if you want to see more reviews of robotic parts like this, let me know in the comments as well. And I do plan on doing a little more testing in the future. So if there's some kind of test you want me to run on this, just let me know. And until next time, we're Team Junkyard Dog, and we're out.